Remember, you don't get to tweak the system of the patient's life, but you do get to tweak the system of your business. So instead of getting frustrated with a problem, focusing on it as the issue that needs to be fixed right now, step back and take ownership of it. Okay, my current system that I own is creating this thing that I don't like. Instead of just trying to fix the problem, what part of the system is creating this thing that I don't like? Welcome to another episode of the Physician Growth Accelerator, a show where we break down your private medical practice systems into vitals, give you the tools to diagnose root cause of what may be restricting your growth, and prescribe what to do about it. I'm your host, Zed Williamson, and I believe everything you experience, everything any of us experience, is the perfect outcome of our current system. And if we want to experience something different, then that just means we have to tweak the system. It's about taking personal responsibility for the things we are creating for ourselves. And if you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to assume that you're likely feeling some kind of constraint within your practice, obstacles that are in the way of you achieving your goals. This can feel like burnout. It can feel like it's hard to find new employees or keep good employees. It can feel like, you're paddling your oar and it just feels like the oar is not in the water. You're going nowhere, going in circles. If that's you, I'm glad you listened to the podcast. Please give us a review and also visit physiciangrowthaccelerator.com and check your vitals. It might help you identify where to start in regards to repairing some constraints within your practice. Now, one thing that's going to sound a little bit weird as we go into this episode is I want you to think about the idea of forget about being a physician. Because, and I'm going to simplify this concept a little bit, so I'm asking for a little leeway in how I present this. But imagine everything that you have learned as a physician business owner about anatomy, about abnormal anatomy, about disease state, all of these things. And what happens is a patient shows up in front of you, and your job, simplified, is identify what's abnormal and is there a way to fix or repair or manage it. And that's it. It's simple. It's right in front of you. You might even catch yourself talking about your business in the way of just fix it. And that's because that's what you witness every single day, maybe 8 hours or more a day with patients. They come in broken, quote unquote, and you fix them. Here's the challenge, is it's really hard for you to not apply that mindset to business. And it's not a good mindset to apply to business. So it's important that you don't, but it's built in to how you operate. So why is this true? Well, imagine that patient. They have lived a life to get to the point where they are where they see you. That root cause of all the existence of them that got them to the point where they needed you is something you can't affect. And when they leave you, you can't affect it either. Business is here all the time. Your company, your private medical practice is here. So you can't just fix a thing and expect the outcome to be long-term or good. We can't treat our business like we treat patients in that sense. An easy way to think about this, or what, at least I like the approach, is as humans, our brains are a little bit addicted to focusing on first-order consequences, that one thing that happens immediately. So if I fix a problem, that feels good because, I fixed that problem. But if I'm not thinking about the second or third order consequences, the things beyond it, chances are that problem is going to float back up. Not sure where in the country you are. I'm in the New Orleans area, and this time of year, the weather is absolutely glorious. And you will hear people say things like, oh man, I wish the weather was like this all the time. That's a first order consequence statement. It's not really, if we break it down, it's not a very smart thing to say, because if what they're describing is weather that's very dry and no rain, but if that happened all the time, well, we'd all be dead. So we wouldn't like the second order consequence of that scenario very much. So this happens in your business. When you experience something that's frustrating, and it's because you're spending time seeing patients all day long, something pops up and you ask yourself, why is this happening? This is stupid that this is a problem. Can you just fix it? That's a first order consequence desire. It's your brain tricking you into thinking that that's really what matters. And in reality, we have to dig down because our businesses are around us all the time. We have to uncover what is the root cause of the creation of whatever symptom we're experiencing. And so if we treat our business in that way, it puts us at risk. So what I'd like you to think about is even this idea of maybe that you wear a couple different hats. One hat is the practicing medicine hat, the clinical hat of interacting with patients and fixing problems, because that's what you do. And then the business hat is not a problem-fixing hat. It's I'm operating this system, and that system is creating an outcome. Remember, you don't get to tweak the system of the patient's life, but you do get to tweak the system of your business. So instead of getting frustrated with a problem, focusing on it as the issue that needs to be fixed right now, step back and take ownership of it. Okay, my current system that I own is creating this thing that I don't like. Instead of just trying to fix the problem, what part of the system is creating this thing that I don't like? And that's the first step to diving into what is the true solution that's repeatable so that we can remove this problem from ever happening again. And it's hard. I know it's hard for you to get to that point because of the time you spend with patients. And so sometimes what we do is we bring in a practice administrator or a practice manager or an admin, and we ask them to fix the problems. And we put them in that same tough spot of we need to be able to own the system. So if that's the case and you do have that person, give them the freedom to be able to take a step back, take responsibility for the system. And it's not a blame responsibility. It's just, I'm going to own this. I'm going to own this outcome as it is the perfect outcome of our current system. And I'm going to take it apart to see what we need to tweak. And that's when you and your team are starting to think more like business owners. But Zed, I'm in medicine. I want my doctor first, not a business owner first. I get it. Sometimes there's this idea around successful business can't be good medicine, or profitability can't be good medicine. And this is something where if your head is there, maybe you shouldn't own your own private practice, because it is not the case. Profitability is basically a sign that you're providing value to people who are searching out what you do. Profitability is a sign of health, that you have built a moat around your private practice, and that it's basically proof from the world that you should be independent. Proof from the world that you should have the autonomy to run your own business the way you want to, with the team that you want to, and interact with patients in the way that you want to and you feel best for them. And so we have to take responsibility for that profitability of the practice, because that's the proof of your health. And just know that if you are looking for quick fixes around business frustrations or profitability, you need to own the whole system, because you're operating a system that has you where you are today. Take that responsibility. I'm telling you, it is so powerful to wrap your head around that concept and own the outcome. And you'll be in a better spot to make decisions that truly drive your business forward. And you can put that business owner hat with a little bit of pride and take the business to where you really want it to go. If you ever have any questions about any of the topics we discuss here on the podcast, please feel free to reach out. Go to physiciangrowthaccelerator.com. We've also put a lot of resources there, webinars. Obviously, there's the other podcast episodes. If you get any value out of this, I'd love a review on wherever you listen to podcasts. It helps other people like you find the information, because I believe it's important to keep private medical practices independent. I think it's good for the earth. So thanks, and we'll see you again on the Physician Growth Accelerator.